Hello and welcome to the third episode of Blooming Where You Are At. My name is Andrea Kekax. I am the host and I'm joined by my daughter Maddie Kekax today. Welcome, Maddie.
Hi.
Today we are talking about blooming in pregnancy, and we want to kind of go at the very beginning of when a woman first discovers that she's pregnant. And so I want to name something that often gets overlooked when we talk about pregnancy. And this is, we spend a lot of time talking about the body and preparing the body, but we don't really talk a lot about the mental and emotional space a woman is in when she finds out she's pregnant. Not all women enter pregnancy feeling excited, certain, or ready. Some that do, but for some, they enter with questions. They enter with hesitation, with fear, or mixed emotions, especially first-time mamas trying to reconcile real life with an idolized picture of what pregnancy is supposed to look like for them. So today's conversation is about that space, the internal one, the quiet processing that happens before confidence arrives, and sometimes alongside with it. I'm sitting here with my daughter Maddie. We're going to talk about her first pregnancy. She is pregnant again with her second child, but we want to go back to her first pregnancy through the lens of real life, not an ideal life, and talk a little bit more candidly about how she felt the first time around to the second time around. This will be a conversation about becoming, about learning to trust the body, and about blooming even when the path doesn't feel very clear. So if you're listening and you find yourself in a season of uncertainty, this conversation is for you. So I want to start out, Maddie, by asking you, before your first pregnancy, how did you feel about the idea of becoming a mother?
Well, I definitely did not want to be a mother. I thought that I would be childless my whole life, but I did end up getting pregnant, and at first I was terrified and not sure if being a mother would be good for me, but now that we're 16 months into being a mother, I think that I couldn't imagine it any other way.
How did you reconcile between not wanting to be a mom and then finding out that you were pregnant?
Well, I had a great support system, my mother.
That always helps.
It does help. The positive affirmations. I was pretty terrified, but I started meditating and I started imagining a life with a child versus without, and all of the exciting things that can happen with a child, and I started to slowly come into the idea that being a mom would be fun and worthwhile, and it would be something that I don't regret.
There are a lot of women not sure how to proceed, so giving ideas of things they can do to help support that and grow, like meditating, finding a good support, and so inward to really ground yourself into the fact that you are pregnant and you're going to have a baby, and what is this going to look like? How did you learn to hold space for those mixed feelings without judging yourself? Was it through that meditative process, or were there any other things that you did to help kind of ground you there?
It was for sure that meditating helped a lot. I would go to bed listening to meditation. I would take showers listening to meditation. Not only to feel grounded with being pregnant in itself, but to prepare my mind and body for labor and for having a connection with my son.
I'd love to talk more about how that connected to your body during your first pregnancy as you started feeling changes, and what was that like, feeling the changes coming on, or what did you do early on to help with that?
Exercise was really big in helping relieve that stress and that tension that I was feeling about pregnancy and the scariness of it all. I would go lap swimming, go for walks, yoga, stretch, and it really helped a lot.
How did becoming a mother change the way you listened to your body? Did you kind of feel any changes about how you were listening and trying to take the cues from what your body was doing?
Definitely. With the first pregnancy, I feel like it was harder for me to kind of listen to what my body was needing, or what's going on the inside, or how I'm feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically. But with this pregnancy, I'm only almost 10 weeks, and I feel like I can just tell everything that's going on the inside, and I feel more in tuned, or I feel more emotional with it, and I'm like prepared, but it feels a little bit more extreme, and I feel more in tune with my body.
Let's talk about your second pregnancy here. Every pregnancy is different, right? Do you mind talking about how you felt going into the second pregnancy as compared to the first pregnancy when you first found out?
Well, the first time I found out with each pregnancy, I was not excited. I was not very happy with either one because, first of all, I didn't want to have kids and I wanted to be childless. So the first time was shocking, but the second time was also not planned. So I also was shocked, and it took some time for each pregnancy to come around and to start feeling excited. There's different emotions with the second pregnancy. There's fear of not wanting to have the same experience the first labor. With this labor, there's the fear of the transition from one kid to two kids, and how will my son handle that? How will I handle it? So there's different questions and fears and thoughts than the first pregnancy, but they both took a little time to kind of get excited for and want.
Were you surprised after your baby was born how the emotions changed from the uncertainty, from the fear, not wanting kids, to a love that just was, you can't really explain, but like not wanting kids and then coming to a point where you have a child and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this boy. You can't imagine your life without him. So how did that come about for you after?
Well, after I had my first one, it took probably a good month or a little longer before I really was having any type of connection with him, because I was so deep in like postpartum depression that it was really hard for me to connect and to not be feeling like I'm just going through the motions and being up all night, being up all day. I felt a little delusional. So I wasn't really at that point yet until a couple months in, and I was really starting to see his personality come through, and that's when I really started to connect and bond with him.
I love that you mentioned postpartum, and we will be having an episode just on postpartum because it's a season in a woman's life that doesn't get a lot of attention, and it deserves more because of what Maddie's just talking about, how she spent 2 months in this state where it was hard for her to connect. And that's not saying that there's not love there. It's just saying that this is a space where her body's trying to heal. Her hormones are going crazy, and she's trying to find her footing in a new identity for herself. And so we do want to circle back to that and talk about postpartum in another episode, but just know that that is normal and that is okay to be in that space. As the baby grows and you're growing alongside, that love can come through. It's not saying that you don't love your child. It's saying that this is a moment where mama needs to take care of herself as well. What would you say to a pregnant woman who feels unsure or disconnected from her body?
I would say get some support if you have any family or friends, and that was one of the biggest things for me, to have my mother be there for me all of the time. Always checking in and making sure I'm taking all of the vitamins and tea. But if you don't have a support system, meditating helps a lot to calm your nerves, to calm your mind, and to really prepare you for everything that's to come.
What do you think is something about pregnancy that isn't talked about enough?
Nutrition, for sure. I think that if you go to like a doctor setting, because I had a midwife and it was all about nutrition, food diaries, what did you eat, what can you eat to help this side effect, what can you eat to help this, and I feel like if you go to a doctor, it's more of just a quick checkup. How
Here's
are
your
you feeling?
prenatals.
Yep. And all right, bye. But they don't really talk about how important food is for you and how beneficial it can be for you.
Yeah, and as far as talking about nutrition and why that is so important. And, there are a lot of midwives out there. In fact, one that I know in particular that I wrote a quote about her in my guide, Blooming in Pregnancy, was that the one thing that a woman can do to really benefit and to help support her baby and herself is through nutrition. And in fact, there's midwives that say, hey, here's the nutritional supplements, here's what I want you to do. If you can't toe the line here, I won't be your midwife. It's that important, especially if you're going to have a baby at home. But even if you're going to have a baby in a birthing center or a hospital, we still want you to have the best nutrition that you can and build that foundation so that you have the best possible outcome. And that's what we're looking for, is the best possible outcome for mama and baby. I don't know if you're hearing this out there, Maddie, but it seems like there's a lot more talk about emergency C-sections and how can we prevent that? And a lot of that's through nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you have to be healthy. You have to change your diet. That's what I had to do with my first pregnancy. I was not the healthiest. I was eating dessert a lot before bed. But you do have to put your body first and really take care of it, because your body is about to go through a marathon.
You're right, it is about to go through a marathon. Through your first pregnancy, I remember getting weekly emails from you about what you were discovering and learning about your baby and how it's growing. Do you have anything to say about what you learned through that process and what was exciting about that?
Well, I definitely recommend downloading pregnancy apps to track your baby's developments, because that definitely helps me become more and more excited. The more I saw it growing, oh, your ribs are growing now, it's growing hair, it's growing fingernails now, it got really exciting, and it really puts it into reality of what's about to come out of you.
Yeah, that is cool. I enjoyed that. And the one that you downloaded, I don't remember the name of it, but it seemed like it was very in-depth about what the growth was, what to expect as a mother in that week. It was exciting to follow that journey. Are you doing anything like that now with your second one, or are you kind of like, I got it?
I actually did just download a different pregnancy app. It's a little more 3D with the baby. You can spin it around, and you can see through its transparent skin right now and see the veins and everything. It's very realistic.
Wow.
But
That's cool.
yeah, it's really cool. I definitely recommend getting something like that.
It's very important that moms, especially when they're pregnant, have some me time. And it's hard with moms. They've got to work, they've got to do this, they've got to take care of that. Is there time in your day that you have found that you can just sort of decompress, have a moment, even if it's just to inhale and exhale one big deep breath? What are you doing to try to help kind of ground and center yourself?
Yeah, well, it can be hard. But during naps, I should be getting stuff done around the house, but sometimes that's the only time you get. And now that he's almost to one nap a day, it's like, okay, I just want to relax for the one nap, because he's about to wake up and be awake for 6-7 hours. So just lay here and look up and breathe.
And that is your time.
Yep. It's either that or at night when he goes to bed, but I'm not a morning person, so I probably will never wake up before him to have some meat. That's not going to happen.
So you have to find it within your day, and you have to make those choices. I like how you said, you know what, I should be doing something else. I don't know. Maybe it's better that you're just sort of connecting with yourself and having a moment. The dishes can wait, whatever can wait, and you can do those at any time.
Maybe I'll just clean with my toddler and show him how to do it.
There you go. Include him on the cleaning. That would help. Is there anything, you would like to share about some differences that you're feeling with this one?
I can tell a difference with my emotions towards it. I actually am a little bit nervous. I feel prepared but nervous, because my first labor did not go how I wanted it to go, and so I'm a little nervous that it's not going to go how I want it to go again. And I also feel like with my body, it still, there's some parts that aren't fully healed and from my first labor, so I'm a little nervous how that's going to play into it, because sometimes I can feel like a little sore, and so I'm hoping by the time I give birth, I go through labor, that everything will be all healed up. But with my first pregnancy also, I had liver issues towards the end, so I'm a little nervous about that. But I mean, nutrition is very important. So
it seems like a lot of women do have a little bit of some liver issues. You hear a lot about the itchy skin and stuff like that, and so having a knowledge about that and some tools, hopefully that will help. You always want to kind of do a gentle detox throughout your pregnancy, because it is doing more of a toxic load, and so doing a gentle detox throughout the entire pregnancy will help. Talk a little bit about those expectations, because a lot of women, especially when they want to do home birth, and now we talked about this, you wanted to do a home birth, but not only that, you wanted to do a water birth, right? And at the end you found that you weren't in the water very much, you were over here, you were doing this, you were trying so many different ways, and you really wanted to have this baby at home, and then things ended up changing for you. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you had to come to terms with the fact that even though you made all these plans, it still may not come out the way you want, right?
Right.
So what can you say to that?
Well, before I had given birth, I had seen a lot when I was doing research and when I was watching other home births and reading about other women's experiences, and almost every woman says, don't be dead set in your birth plan, because things can change so rapidly, and it's almost never how you want it to be. That's pretty rare to get it exactly the way you want with your birth plan. So this time around, I want to be more flexible. I feel like I won't have an issue this time trying it at home. I feel like it will be hopefully an easier birth. But yes, don't have set expectations. You can have like your base birth plan, like, okay, I want to have the birth in the hospital. I want it natural. I'm not going to do any Pitocin. I don't want this, that, or the other. Those are things you can be like, that's the line. I'm doing it at the hospital, or I'm doing it with no medical help with like Pitocin or epidural or anything like that. But some things you have to be flexible on. Like if something happens during your natural labor at home, you have to just get up and go to the hospital.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you were pretty dead set on having it at home, and that's probably why it took so long, you know. And me, as her mother, was like, kumbaya, let's just push the baby out in our mind and it'll just come out. And it doesn't happen that way either.
If you repeat the phrase, baby, you will come out of me, you will come out, it might not happen.
We tried that. It didn't work, guys. So don't be surprised if that doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, but that's touching too, and something to keep in mind for all women in this is that even though it may not go the way you planned, it's going to go the way it's supposed to, right? And I want to instill that too, is it's going to go the way it's supposed to. You're one part. There's the baby, a higher source that is guiding the baby and you in this process. So have a little bit of trust, not just in you, but within what's happening. And basically at the end of the day, you can, as much as you can as far as nutrition goes, and then you just have to release it to let it go how it's going to go.
To fate.
To fate, yes. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the preparation that you did as well, aside from nutrition. That first pregnancy, you did do some of those breathing classes. Do you feel like those were effective? Did you use any of that? You mentioned this time you said something about, what was it called?
Hypnobirthing.
Hypnobirthing. Let's talk just a tiny bit about that.
I definitely want to try hypnobirthing this time. I think with my first birth, there was no music, I don't think, was there? I was kind of out of it, but
I don't think we had music.
It was just silence and pushing sounds. So I think I want it to be more of a calm environment, and there's tracks that you can play where you're listening to a person speaking to you and puts you in a calmer mindset. I definitely want to try hypnobirthing this time, or at least have some calming music, or the lights dim. I don't know. I felt like it was very bright, and maybe, I don't know, I wasn't relaxed. Maybe that's why he didn't come out.
It's hard to relax when you're at a 10 and having severe contractions.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how.
You always see those videos of women that are like, if you look it up anyways, a lot of at-home births are like dimmer lights, and they're really in tune with their body. I feel like they're so quiet.
Yeah, they're very zen, huh?
Yeah, they're very zen. They're pushing, and they're like hardly make a noise. I feel like I was screaming.
We were just desperate to want that baby out, and it just wasn't going to come out at home. I wanted to ask, what are you most grateful for right now? We don't expect to bloom when our circumstances are perfect. We have to bloom where we're at, with our uncertainties, with our fears, with our concerns. You know, how do you do that? And I think one way is to be grateful for the things right now, right? So what kind of things are you grateful for as you enter this second pregnancy?
I am grateful for my knowledge of nutrition, and I have a long way to go with what else I can learn about nutrition, and I'm grateful for trusting my body this time around. I feel more in tune with it. I am grateful for my toddler. He always puts a smile on my face and makes me happy even when I'm sad or feeling heavy hormonal emotions. Yeah, I'm just grateful for all of that.
I think that's really a beautiful place to pause, unless you've got anything else that you would like to share about your experience on the front side or the back side or in the in-between side.
No, I think you covered everything pretty well. I don't really have anything else to add to it.
All right. Well, thank you, Maddie. I appreciate that. So if you're listening to this and you're in the early days of pregnancy, or just even sitting with the idea of becoming a mother, I hope this conversation reminds you that uncertainty doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. So much of pregnancy happens quietly, and it happens internally with the mother before anything looks settled or confident on the outside. You know, questions, hesitation, fear, and mixed feelings, they're not signs of failure. That's what we want to communicate. They're not signs of failure. They're not signs of no love. They're often just part of the preparation, and that is okay. I invite you to pause this episode and reflect on where you are right now. What questions are you holding? What feels tender or unfinished for you? And what might it look like to meet yourself with a little more compassion in the season of blooming here in pregnancy? And if you feel called to share, please, you're welcome to do so. Reach out, leave a comment. Your story matters exactly as it's unfolding for you. We would love to hear about it. Thank you so much, and we will see you all back on episode 4. Yes, thank you all so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.